Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. The five-colored flame and the ice blue light flew through the sky like meteorites. They used a kind of annihilation-like spectacular momentum and crushed ruthlessly together in front of a countless number of gazes. Bang. The enormous flame hand was just like an arm that was furiously swung by a fire god. It emitted a world-destroying strength when it came into contact with the arrow. Clang. A sharp, piercing sound resounded over the sky. This sound appeared to be able to penetrate one's soul, causing a painful expression to surface on the faces of a countless number of people. They firmly covered their ears. Bang. The ice blue cold arrow blasted apart in all directions at this moment. Under this terrifying cold air, even empty space itself had a layer of ice fragments permeating over it. The enormous flame fist violently came smashing over from outside of the world that was formed by the cold aura. A frightening five-colored flame and an ice blue, cold air mixed together in an uncontrolled manner as they began a life and death erosion. The five-colored flame and the icy blue, cold air each occupied half of the sky. Both of them crazily shot out their energy. That shocking collision shook the sky. Tianxi's body stood in the sky. His body continued to tremble as the pressure that was emitted from within the cold air caused both of his arms to involuntarily feel as though they were about to be torn off. He clearly understood that if he took even half a step back, the destructive force of the large fire god hand would instantly break through the ice god arrow's icy mirror and slam him into mincemeat. Therefore, he would definitely not pull back even if he had to use his last remaining strength. Bing Xian, Bing Hua, transfer all of your Do Qi over. Tianxi's expression was savage. His eyes were just like poisonous snakes as they stared at the blurry figure within the cold fog. He furiously roared. Bing Xian and Bing Hua behind Tianxi were stunned when they heard his furious roar. They immediately grit their teeth as they placed their hands on Tianxi's back. The Do Qi within their bodies continued to surge into the other party's body. The pressure on Tianxi's arm was reduced after receiving the support of their vast, mighty Do Qi. A fierceness flashed across his eyes. He sternly cried out, "Extreme freezing." His cry sounded. The vast and mighty Do Qi he received agglomerated with the Do Qi within his body. After which, it surged into the permeating pale blue, cold fog. With this support, the temperature of the cold fog became frightening. At this moment, if an ordinary Do zone were to walk into it, they would be frozen into an ice sculpture within less than 10 breaths' time. Moreover, even a soul would not be able to escape from it. Crack crack, this collision emitted a shockingly loud sound. An enormous energy ripple spread out in a lightning-like manner. After which, it collided with the fire curtain around it, causing the five-ring flame expelling technique to tremble. After the punch landed, the space where the flame and cold air made contact split apart. A 5-foot-large dark black hole appeared. The pure darkness within it caused one's head to feel numb. Cold air followed the arm of the fire god as it spread in all directions. The five-colored flame entered the cold fog, causing the frightening, pale blue fog to swiftly scatter. The arm of the fire god began to form numerous lines in the face of the corrosion of the cold air through every single opening it created. At the same time, the cold fog was swiftly scattering. The two frightening energies were diminishing after eroding each other. A sinister smile surfaced on Tianxi's face as he watched the swiftly weakening arm of the fire god and the cold fog. He had successfully blocked Xiao Yan's terrifying attack, and believed that it was impossible for Xiao Yan to unleash another attack of such a level. As long as he continued to delay things until the time limit for the Skyfire 3 mysterious flame was up, he would be able to knead Xiao Yan as he pleased. The cold air swiftly scattered in front of Tianxi's dark and cold gaze. Just when the cold air had completely vanished, the enormous arm of the fire god also emitted a boom sound and was blasted apart, transforming into ice fragments that scattered from the sky in all directions. Ha ha. Tianxi finally could not control his joy when the arm of the fire god blasted apart. His face became sinister as he laughed out loud. However, his laughter did not continue for long before it was interrupted by the black figure that had shot down from the sky. Tianxi raised his head and looked at the figure speeding over with sinister eyes. His old face revealed a mocking laugh. "You dare to charge over? Do you wish to risk it all?" Tianxi's shriveled hand tightly grabbed his snake-shaped walking stick. He stomped his foot and icy blue, cold air once again surged out of his body. Being at the peak of the Do Zone class, the strength of his Do Qi was far from what Xiao Yan could compare with. The figure that shot down was extremely swift. Within a flash, it had appeared in front of Tian Shi. Xiao Yan's large robe suddenly emitted a sizzling sound at this moment as it turned to ashes. A palm-sized three-colored fire lotus suddenly appeared in a mysterious manner from under Xiao Yan's robes. At this moment, it was pointless to think too much. With the only time that Tian Shi had, he lifted the snake-shaped walking stick in his hand and used it to block his chest. Boom. A miracle did not occur. Xiao Yang's three-colored fire lotus was ruthlessly pressed into the snake-shaped walking stick on Tian Shi's chest while he revealed a ferocious smile. After which, bang! A large firestorm erupted in front of a countless number of shocked eyes, sweeping through the sky as it occurred. The surrounding fire curtain was unable to endure any longer while the storm ravaged the sky. It blasted apart with a bang. The 5 fire spirits also slowly scattered at this moment. The firestorm swept around. Bing Xian and Bing Hua, who were a short distance behind Tian Shi, did not have the time to dodge. They were violently struck and ended up spitting out mouthfuls of fresh blood. Their bodies flew back like kites with their strings broken. Finally, they fell to the ground and smashed hard into Yi City. Many of the buildings in Yi City were turned to rubble along the way. Countless numbers of gazers were stunned as they watched Bing Xian and Bing Hua fall. After which, they turned to look to the firestorm in the sky. A chill involuntarily spread across their hearts. Protector Wu in the sky looked at the firestorm. His illusionary body also rippled a little. The fighting strength that Xiao Yang had displayed caused him to feel the fear of death. Now, he finally began to regret his actions. Why did he take the initiative to receive this task, which he thought he would perform successfully with great ease, from the hands of the Honorable Elder, Do Zun? This was because only now did he become aware that this task, which he thought he would very likely succeed, was one that was filled with danger. Bang. A figure suddenly flew out of the firestorm while Protector Wu was feeling regretful. Bright red fresh blood was repeatedly spat out of his mouth. Tian Shi. Protector Wu's sharp eyes saw the ghastly-faced, blood-covered figure that flew out. He was carrying half of the snake-shaped walking stick. It was surprisingly Tian Shi. However, the miserable appearance of the current Tian Shi was even worse than Protector Wu's earlier state. From the looks of it, he would at the very least end up seriously injured. Boom. Fresh blood covered Tian Shi's body as he violently fell into Yi City in front of many eyes. After which, he smashed onto the ground and formed an enormous pit. His body was lying within the pit. No one knew if he was dead or alive. The Ice River Valley has lost. The entire city was silent. Numerous eyes looked at the enormous pit and their heads felt as though they were about to explode. The battles today had caused their hearts to be filled with only one word. Shock. How many times can one see such a soul-stirring battle in one lifetime? Protector Wu's stunned eyes looked at Tian Shi with his unknown fate. The terror in his heart spread. He nodded his head, turned around and fled. However, Protector Wu had just moved his body when the space behind him fluctuated. Immediately, a hand mysteriously appeared. It gently landed on Protector Wu's shoulder as a faint voice, that caused his entire body to stiffen, slowly sounded, "I will turn you to dust if you move again." Protector Wu's throat violently rolled. He slowly turned his head with much difficulty. A ferocious-looking, young face had revealed itself. "If you kill me, the Hall of Souls will definitely make it difficult for you to survive in the Central Plains region. You should clearly be aware that my Hall of Souls is not the Ice River Valley." Protector Wu forcefully endured the chill within his heart. He hardened his mouth and threatened him in a deep voice. Xiao Yang's eyes glanced over before he indifferently laughed. An uneasiness suddenly rose in Protector Wu's heart when he heard this laugh. Before he could struggle, a hot, invisible flame surged out of Xiao Yang's palm and swiftly wrapped around him. The invisible flame had just made contact with Protector Wu's body when he suddenly emitted a sharp, miserable screech. The special soul-burning effect of the fallen heart flame was painful as torture to the current Protector Wu, who no longer had the protection of that mysterious, black fog. A miserable sharp screech resounded over the sky. After which, it spread across the entire Yi City. A countless number of people quietly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Xiao Yang acted as though he did not hear Protector Wu's miserable screech. His eyes were cold and indifferent as he looked at Protector Wu, who was becoming sluggish within the flame. He only flicked his finger just as Protector Wu's soul was about to scatter and sucked the flame into his body. At this moment, Protector Wu's head was drooping. His aura was extremely weak. The waves of searing pain emitted from deep within his soul caused his body to involuntarily twitch. Is it very painful? Xiao Yan looked at the extremely weary Protector Wu. His hand, wrapped around Protector Wu's neck, increased its strength. A savage expression once again surged up his young face. The bitterness that teacher has suffered in the Hall of Souls is likely 10,000 times greater than this. Therefore, it is only right that your soul be completely scattered. Protector Wu's body twitched. After this burning by the fallen heart flame, he did not even possess any strength left to speak. He widened his mouth, but no voice was emitted. If one were to describe his current emotion, it would be a type of regret. This kind of regret was not because he had captured Yao Chen. Instead, the regret was because he had not killed off Xiao Yang with a slap back then. The Xiao Yang at that time was just like an ant in his eyes. One slap and he would have easily taken his life. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. It was due to all the factors back then that had resulted in this current situation. Xiao Yang swiftly took a couple of medicinal pills that recovered Do Qi out of his storage ring and stuffed them into his mouth. Only then did his pale white face appear a little better. Your ability to defeat Qian Shi's group by relying on your 2-star Do Zone strength has exceeded the expectations of the old me. Unfortunately, my Ice River Valley will not allow any mistake this time around, Qian Shuangzi faintly spoke. Xiao Yang's eyes narrowed when he heard his words. A thought passed through his mind and the earth demon puppet a short distance away rushed over with lightning-like speed. After which, it stood guard beside him. At this moment, Xiao Yang's condition was gradually weakening. There was no telling just how things would develop if another strong enemy were to appear. There is no need to use words to scare the younger generation. You will not be able to act today. Qian Huozunja raised his eyes. After which, he glanced at Xiao Yang and said, you should rest first. Leave this person to me. Xiao Yang slightly nodded when he heard this. His eyes cautiously stared at Qian Shuangzi. His current condition was unsuitable to continue fighting. If that old fellow were to attack him, it was likely that Xiao Yang would not even be able to last 5 exchange rests. Do you really think that the people from my Hall of Souls can just randomly be captured? An indifferent voice slowly resounded over the sky like a thunderous roar just when Xiao Yang was about to turn around and withdraw, causing a countless number of people to become shocked. After this indifferent voice sounded, one could see the cold air barrier that surrounded Yi City began to ripple. Immediately, the cold air was forcefully torn apart. A black fog surged in from all directions. After which, it lingered in the sky in front of a countless number of shocked eyes. The black fog surged before it slowly faded a moment later. 10 figures were revealed under it. The auras of these 10 figures were all quite strong, especially for the figure in the leader's spot. He was a black-robed, blue-haired, old man. Not even a little energy seeped from his body. However, this entire area shook intensely the moment he appeared the Dozun from the Hall of Souls. Waves of uproars suddenly erupted within Yi City when the 10 figures appeared. Quite a number of people revealed dull faces. This Yi City could be called extremely lively today. Experts one would hardly ever see were revealing themselves one after another. Xiao Yang's body also suddenly stiffened when this group appeared. His face instantly became gloomy. He did not expect the people from the Hall of Souls to make it here this moment. Qian Huozunja's expression had also changed slightly at this moment. His eyes stared firmly at the blue-haired, old man. Other people might not be able to sense his aura, but he was clearly able to sense it. This person's strength is even greater than Qian Shuangzi in front. It is likely that he has reached the strength of a 2-star Dozun. Today, the situation is becoming worse. Compared with Xiao Yang's and Qian Huozunja's expressions, Qian Shuangzi's face revealed a smile at this moment. He glanced at Qian Huozunja's expression, and his heart involuntarily felt a little joyful. He cupped his hands to the blue-haired, old man and laughed, "Cuckoo, it is actually Qinghai Zunja. It is unexpected that this problem has even alarmed a great person like you, Honorable Elder Qinghai. Quickly capture Xiao Yang. He is someone whom the Hall Chief has personally ordered to be captured." Protector Wu, who was being grabbed in Xiao Yang's hand, also appeared to have gained some sanity just before his death after seeing the appearance of Qinghai. A hoarse, low roar was shouted from his throat with all his might. Xiao Yang's eyes turned cold. An invisible flame surged out and wrapped around Protector Wu. After which, he took out a jade bottle from his storage ring and stuffed Protector Wu into it with his miserable screams. Xiao Yang's finger then rubbed the mouth of the bottle and formed a fire seal. Xiao Yang tossed the jade bottle into his storage ring. His eyes were ice cold as he looked at Qing Hai's group in the distance. Qing Hai's muddled eyes slightly narrowed upon seeing that Xiao Yang had sealed Protector Wu in front of his own eyes. His eyes revealed some surprise as he stared at Xiao Yang and questioned, "You are that Xiao Yang?" Xiao Yang did not reply to his words. He shifted his feet and moved himself behind the earth demon puppet. "Cuckoo, how unexpected, you dare to swagger about despite being the target of the Hall of Souls. This courage of yours is really not bad." Qing Hai laughed when he saw that Xiao Yang did not reply. He shook his head and spoke somewhat lazily, "Release that fellow. You should also make a trip to the Hall of Souls with this venerable self." Tian Huizhen's face sank when he heard Qing Hai's words. His body was just about to move when Tian Shuangzi in front of him followed close behind. He appeared just like Tian Huizhen's shadow, holding him back at the same time. "Get lost." Tian Huizhen's expression was gloomy as he coldly cried out, "Cuckoo, I will not mind doing so if you have the ability." Tian Shuangzi faintly laughed. After which, he said to Qing Huizhen, "This person is also a companion of Xiao Yang. However, you can just leave him to the old me. You can just focus on capturing that brat." Qing Hai's turbid eyes swept over Tian Huizhen. Surprise flashed across them. Immediately, he nodded and laughed, "In that case, I shall trouble you. This venerable self will come and aid you after capturing Xiao Yang." Tian Shuangzi nodded with a grin. He looked at Tian Huizhen across from him, whose face was gloomy. A dense smile flashed across Tian Shuangzi's eyes. "Little fellow, there is not a single person my Hall of Soul wants, but cannot obtain." Qing Hai's face wore a smile as he slowly stepped through the empty air. He walked toward Xiao Yang. After which, he paused in front of Xiao Yang. He extended his hand and grabbed at the top of Xiao Yang's head. The crazy expression in Xiao Yang's eyes grew denser as he watched the hand come closer. The few types of heavenly flames within his body began to swiftly merge. Just when Qing Hai's hand was about to reach the top of Xiao Yang's head, the surrounding solidified space was suddenly shattered. A mightier spatial strength spread out with lightning-like speed. Even Qing Hai's body showed some signs of sluggishness at this moment. The space solidified as an elegant, white-clothed figure slowly appeared in front of Xiao Yang in front of a countless number of eyes. A bone-chilling voice reverberated across the sky, "Hurt him and you will die." The smile on Qing Hai's face, that had been filled with a laziness, suddenly changed the moment that delicate, elegant, white-clothed figure appeared. He withdrew his hand in a lightning-like manner. His body shook. He escaped from the solidified space around him. After which, he swiftly withdrew. "Who are you? You dare to intervene in the matters of my Hall of Souls?" A furious cry was emitted from Qing Hai's mouth while he withdrew. The distorted space slowly became calm in front of a countless number of gazes. That white-clothed figure clearly appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The lady was wearing a white dress. Looking from a distance, she emitted an ethereal demeanor. Her snow-white, long hair fell to her lovely buttocks. A gentle breeze blew over and her snow-white hair drifted in the wind, appearing elegant and alluring. Due to her position, many people were unable to see the exact appearance of this lady. However, from her fit, delicate waist, one could tell that she was a rare beauty. Xiao Yang would naturally not find this figure foreign. Who else could this person be other than the little fairy doctor? "Have you succeeded?" Xiao Yang was stunned as he looked at the little fairy doctor, who had appeared in the nick of time. Finally, he ended up asking out of surprise. The little fairy doctor turned her head. She revealed her lovely smile as her beautiful eyes looked at Xiao Yang. She nodded slightly and curled her lips into an enchanting arc. After which, her eyes suddenly noticed the remnant trace of blood that still lingered on the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth. Immediately, a chill was added to her arc. She softly inquired, "Is he the one who injured you?" "Relax. The one who injured me is suffering from an injury that is 10 times more serious than mine." Xiao Yang smiled. His eyes carefully sized up the little fairy doctor in front of him, and he found that he was no longer able to detect the other party's exact strength. At this moment, the feeling the little fairy doctor gave him was just like an unfathomable, quiet lake that did not allow one to see its bottom. "Your strength. You have broken to the Dozun class." Xiao Yang's voice contained a joy that he could not hide. The little fairy doctor slightly smiled and nodded. She was currently feeling incomparably well. The woeful poison body, which had troubled her for many years, fell under her control when the poison dam was formed. From now on, she need not be worried about her poison body accidentally erupting and causing death. The woeful poison body would no longer be a double-edged sword. Instead, it had become a sharp weapon only she could control. You are also in cahoots with Xiao Yan. Qinghai's expression sank, as he cried out, with a cold voice, after seeing Xiao Yan conversing happily with the little fairy doctor. The little fairy doctor finally turned her head over slowly after hearing Qinghai's cry. Her pretty eyes swept over him. After which, she lightly nodded her head. This matter is a grudge with my Hall of Souls and Xiao Yang. Please think twice before participating. Otherwise, you might end up offending a faction you cannot afford to offend for just a momentary gain. Qinghai solemnly cried out. A furious expression flashed across Qinghai's eyes when he saw this situation. From the way the other party had solidified the space with her bare hands, it was likely that the other person's strength was slightly stronger than his. However, he could not tell if she had stepped up to become a 3-star Dozun. How is it possible that so many experts are aiding this brat? 2 Dozun. Even my Hall of Souls cannot take this lightly. Qinghai's heart was somewhat alarmed and uncertain, as his gaze swept over Xiao Yang behind the little fairy doctor. He had difficulty imagining just how Xiao Yang was able to get 2 elite Dozuns to be his bodyguards, given that he was born on the edge of the continent. Hall of Souls. I have never heard of it, even if I have. It is not even as important as a single strand of his hair. The little fairy doctor merely smiled and replied in the face of Qinghai's threat. Xiao Yang was helpless when he heard this. It seemed that Qinghai was about to jump up and down. These words were too much of a blow, as expected. The little fairy doctor's words had just sounded when Qinghai's expression turned gloomy. A blue-colored glow was flickering on his eagle claw-like, shriveled hand. A moment later, he said in a dense voice, in that case, allow this venerable self to test if you possess the qualification to say these words. Gan Da, lead the others to capture that brat. Leave this person to me to deal with. After hearing Qinghai's cry, the other 9 experts from the Hall of Souls, who were standing in the sky a short distance away, immediately responded in unison. They slowly spread apart, and began to surround Xiao Yang as they approached him. The little fairy doctor sweetly smiled. She gently clenched her hand and a grey-colored aura lingered over her long fingers. Even the surrounding space formed a slight ripple, while the grey Do Qi was flowing around. Qinghai's expression stiffened when he saw this. Immediately, a fierceness flashed across his eyes. His body moved and space distorted. He took the lead to appear in front of the little fairy doctor. His shriveled hand was just like an eagle claw, as it carried an intense spatial ripple, and grabbed at little fairy doctor's long neck. The little fairy doctor gracefully shifted her feet, and easily dodged Qinghai's sharp attack. The grey Do Qi lingering on her hand suddenly swelled. After which, her long fingers pressed against the empty sky, and she pressed them toward Qinghai's body at lightning-like speed. Qinghai's expression changed a little when he faced the grey Do Qi on the little fairy doctor's hands. He could clearly sense danger when that grey Do Qi rushed over. Bang! A blue-colored glow surged on Qinghai's fist. After which, it carried a rippling spatial strength, as his fist violently smashed into the little fairy doctor's hand. The two had just collided when a dark black spatial line was opened in the sky. The little fairy doctor's lovely body trembled while Qinghai took 2 to 3 steps back, before stabilizing his body. Qinghai stabilized his body. However, his expression was an unusually ugly one. The vast and might Do Qi within his body surged. After which, it agglomerated in his palm. A moment later, he could hear a sizzling sound. 3 tiny blood pillars shot out of his palm. A blood stench permeated the interior of the blood pillars. Just what kind of poison vapor is in the hands of this woman? It is this terrifying. A shocked expression flashed across Qinghai's eyes after forcing out the poison that had invaded his body. It was his first time meeting such a lethal poison. The little fairy doctor did not give chase after forcing Qinghai back. She moved her body and appeared beside Xiao Yang. After beckoning with her hand, she pulled the poison fog around her. Immediately, the space beside her once again became distorted. Tian Huazunja's figure also appeared at this moment. Xiao Yang is injured. We are outnumbered and should not continue being entangled with them here. Let us leave first before deciding what to do next. Tian Huazunja spoke with a deep voice after appearing. The little fairy doctor slightly nodded. This kind of place was indeed unsuitable to stay for long. I will destroy that cold air barrier. You should bring Xiao Yang and leave. Tian Huizunja looked at the permeating cold air in the sky and spoke. Tian Huizunja did not wait for a reply after saying those words. His body flashed, and he appeared under the cold fog barrier. After which, he violently swung his fist, bang. The punch smashed into the cold fog, and the entire cold fog barrier began to shake. The dense, cold fog was swiftly becoming thinner. Qing Huizunja, attack. Don't allow them to flee. Tian Shuangzi also understood the intention of Xiao Yang's group after seeing this. His expression turned cold. Their Ice River Valley had summoned such a great army to come to this place. What face would they have if Xiao Yang's group managed to flee in the end? The two figures had just rushed out, when the little fairy doctor darted out from under Tian Huizunja. She waved her hand and a grey poison vapor spread. Due to them being afraid of the potentness of this poison, both Tian Shuangzi and Qing Hai could only hurriedly stop their bodies. Tian Huizunja once again threw a merciless punch, while the both figures paused. After throwing this punch, the cold air barrier that permeated the sky finally revealed a tunnel. A joy appeared in Tian Huizunja's eyes when he saw this. He pulled Xiao Yang to him, as he cried out to the little fairy doctor behind him, "Let's go." Tian Huizunja's cry had just sounded when he grabbed Xiao Yang and took the lead to rush through the tunnel that had appeared in the barrier of cold air. However, his body had just advanced when the space around the cold air tunnel became distorted. Dense spatial ripples spread out of it. It is unexpected that the woeful poison body can be controlled. I have miscalculated. A sigh was emitted from the distorted space. An ice throne vaguely appeared from space. There was a figure wearing a white robe on the throne slowly standing up. Cold air surged all around them. The person who had suddenly appeared was wearing white robes. He had a tall figure, and his face appeared to be quite young. There was some indifference being emitted from between his brows. Even though this was the case, it was still extremely difficult to hide his handsome appearance. However, there seemed to be a feminine demeanor being emitted from his handsome appearance. Additionally, there was a dark black snow flower drawing in between this mysterious, white-robed man's eyebrows. When one's eyes looked at it, this image seemed to freeze even one's soul, appearing exceptionally unusual. The white-robed man placed both of his hands behind him. He stood on the black-colored ice stairs as snowflakes that scattered down from the sky, whizzed and rotated around his body. The weak snowflakes currently possessed an extremely frightening destructive strength. This is the Valley Chief of the Ice River Valley being he. Heavens, this old demon has actually come himself. For a woeful poison body, he has summoned such a great force. Isn't it a little too frightening? Yi City did not lack some people who possessed great knowledge and experience. Hence, numerous exclamations involuntarily resounded when they saw the white-robed man standing with his hands behind him in the sky. Everyone within the Yi clan had become dull at this moment. Xin Lan's expression was ghastly white. Her body involuntarily swayed a little. The Valley Chief of the Ice River Valley. The great name of this expert was known by almost everyone in the middle region. It was usually quite rare to see such an expert. Unexpectedly, this legendary figure had personally appeared because of Xiao Yang's group, greeting Valley Chief. Tian Shuangzi in the sky saw this white-robed figure, who had suddenly appeared. A joy surged up his face as he respectfully greeted him. "Where is Tian Shi?" The white-robed man's eyes slowly swept around him before he suddenly asked. Tian Shuangzi revealed an embarrassed face when he heard this. He pointed to a large pit within Yi City. An unconscious and seriously injured Tian Shi was lying in it. The white-robed man's eyes followed the direction of Tian Shuangzi's finger. He glanced over for a moment before slightly nodding. The snowflakes around him suddenly began to rotate a little faster. It is unexpected that even Valley Chief Bing has personally gotten involved. Qing Hai by the side also cupped his hands to the white-robed man. Although he was also an elite Dozun, Qing Hai was aware that there was quite a large gap between him and this Valley Chief from the Ice River Valley. The gap between each star within the Dozun class was far from what an ordinary person could imagine. It was a kind of extremely fixed hierarchical system. It was quite difficult for someone in the Dozun class to challenge another of a higher level. Moreover, this Ice River Valley's Valley Chief had been renowned in the Central Plains for much longer than Qing Hai. Bing Zunja's eyes slowly shifted. A moment later, they paused on the little fairy doctor. Both of his eyes emitted an extremely rare heat. Xiao Yang's three-person group had bunched together the moment Bing Zunja appeared. Their eyes were grave as they studied him. This fellow's strength is really terrifying. It is likely that he is not weaker than Tang Zhen from the Burning Flame Valley. If we exchange blows with him, it is likely that even the current little fairy doctor will not be a match for him. Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly flashed. This situation was definitely a dangerous one. If they did not resolve it properly, it was likely that this Yi city would really be the place of Xiao Yan's despair. Some of the Do Qi in my body has recovered. If we really end up at a critical final moment, I will use the final extermination lotus flame even if I have to forcefully do so. Otherwise, it is likely that all of us will have difficulty escaping from this catastrophe. Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly flickered. Various thoughts of fleeing continuously flashed in his heart. Xiao Yang, I will hold them back after this. You and old Mr. Yao should seek an opportunity to escape. A somewhat ice-cold hand gently grabbed Xiao Yang while his thoughts were swiftly circulating. A low whisper was emitted at the same time. Xiao Yang slightly knit his brows. It seemed that the little fairy doctor had also sensed that this Bing Zunja would be difficult to deal with. It is likely that it won't be easy even if we wish to leave. The other side possess 3 Do Zuns. Moreover, there is Bing Zunja whom we cannot see through. Qian Huozunja gently sighed. He had finally sensed the severity of the situation. I will not hurt you if you leave with me. Bing Zunja seemed to have not heard the conversation between Xiao Yang's group. His gaze contained a fiery heat as he stared at the little fairy doctor. His voice had also become unusually gentle. In your dreams. The little fairy doctor's face was ice-cold. A grey-colored flow lingered over her hand. There was a deadly aura permeating around here. This was woeful poison vapor. However, this woeful poison vapor had currently become the sharpest weapon in the little fairy doctor's arsenal. The woeful poison vapor had just appeared when it swiftly agglomerated into a poison arrow. It emitted a swoosh sound. The space in front of it became distorted, and it disappeared. The space in front of Bing Zunja also became distorted. The poison arrow shot out from it, targeting his heart. The woeful poison body is divided into those natural and artificial ones. My woeful poison body is an artificial one. However, it doesn't matter. As long as I am able to obtain her woeful poison body, I will be able to make up for this defect. Bing Zunja gently licked his lips. His sinister voice resounded around Xiao Yang's group while he did so. So it is an artificial woeful poison body. Xiao Yang sighed in relief. He had heard that it was possible to make a woeful poison body. However, it was extremely difficult. Moreover, one would have to bear the great risk of dying. Even if one ended up succeeding, one might only possess a useless constitution in the end. It was many times lousier when compared to the little fairy doctor's natural woeful poison body. No wonder the Ice River Valley is searching for a woeful poison body. It is because of this reason. Bing Zunja rubbed the black-colored snow flower between his eyebrows after speaking. After which, he gently laughed. I am really too excited. I have told all of you this. The black-colored snow flower flashed as the laughter sounded. The snowflakes that were whizzing around him instantly turned a strange black color at this moment. After which, he lifted his hand and gently pointed at Xiao Yang's group. That whizzing, black snowflakes immediately swept out after his finger pressed down. After which, they shot toward Xiao Yang's group from all directions. The little fairy doctor and Qian Huozunja's expressions slightly changed when they saw Bing Zunja unleash an attack. The two of them blocked Xiao Yang. Mighty Do Qi surged out of their bodies and formed a monstrous Do Qi wall in front of them. Countless black-colored snowflakes shot into the large Do Qi wall like hidden weapons, deeply embedding into it. After which, wave after wave of strange black color swiftly spread apart. In the blink of an eye, it was saturated in the Do Qi wall. Bang! The Do Qi wall collapsed following the spreading of the black color. Two unusual black colors transformed into two ferocious-looking black dragons. They carried roars as they charged toward the little fairy doctor and Qian Huozunja. The little fairy doctor and Qian Huozunja swiftly withdrew when they saw this. Two mighty Do Qi pillars surged out of their palms and violently collided with the two black dragons. Bang! The two collided and spatial cracks spread apart like spider webs. This fierce exchange caused the little fairy doctors and Qian Huozunja's bodies to tremble. A muffled groan was emitted from their throats. Immediately, their feet pushed against empty air, and they swiftly withdrew 100 meters. They fought 2 against 1, but the one who had obtained the upper hand was Bing Zunja. His might was actually this terrifying. Bing Zunja smiled faintly after defeating the little fairy doctor and Qian Huozunja with one attack. He glanced at Xiao Yang. After which, he randomly waved his hand and one of the black dragons, that had disappeared, was once again formed. It roared as it pounced toward Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's eyes gradually turned blood red when he saw the black dragon charging over. The heavenly flames within his body had already been merged beforehand. A somewhat illusionary fire lotus was slowly appearing in his palm. The black dragon roared and pounced over. It was accompanied by a bloody wind, as it was swiftly magnified in Xiao Yang's eyes. With the approach of the black dragon, the fire lotus on Xiao Yang's hand gradually became less transparent. However, his expression was growing paler. The black dragon had fiercely rushed over in front of a countless number of eyes. However, just as the fire lotus in Xiao Yang's hand was about to completely appear, the space in front of him suddenly distorted. Two elderly figures appeared in a strange fashion. They waved their sleeves and scattered the black dragon. After the black dragon crumbled, a green-colored figure began to slowly appear in the distorted space behind those two elderly figures. A gentle voice that contained an ethereal aura resonated over the land. If he is injured, the Ice River Valley will disappear. Part 1 end here.